The short story in the UK is that in 2004, internet advertising was 4% of about a 17–18 billion pound market, and now in 2015, at any rate, it'll be about 42% of an 18.5 billion market. So it's completely shot from last to first during that time. And in the very early days, advertisers didn't really know much about it at all. There were a few who were sort of converts, but most were pretty skeptical about it. And the agencies, the media agencies particularly, weren't tooled up with experts and planning departments, so it was all kind of left to pure play small agencies through a process of just evangelizing what is an exciting medium. And don't forget, this is the medium of most interest because people kind of understand TV and press and radio, and this new stuff across the internet and mobile is actually exciting and interesting to learn about. And so by harnessing that, we became a sort of challenger brand to help people understand more and therefore buy into it mentally and spend more over time. And pretty soon it got to sort of 10%, and then it went through 20%, and finally we got to 40. So my advice here in South Africa, and this conference here, the Digital Summit, is a brilliant example of how people come together, they network, get excited about the product, and evangelize about it, is for the IAB to be the big marketing and PR machine for the industry with independent viewpoint, to help the mission, bringing everybody along to understand more and spend more in digital, because ultimately it has to be the way to go. As more and more people get tooled up with digital, spend more time on their devices, money follows the eyeballs, so it all will out. It is just a question of how fast the market can move. So really exciting time for South Africa. Across a number of markets in Europe, France, Germany, UK, they're all around 20 to 25% of the online citizens are employing some kind of ad blocker. And the reasons, the chief reason really for ad blocking is because some people find overlays, video ads with the sound on, intrusive advertising so annoying that actually they'd rather switch it off and not have it. The other thing is that on mobile, it's using some of their capacity. About 20% probably of the data plan could be taken up by advertising, and they want a faster experience. And we recognise that, and so we're bringing in new rules called lean advertising, which will mean fewer data calls, there will be fewer, better ads, there won't be overlays and videos that crop up with sound on, through a new set of standards that we're introducing. But the ad blockers themselves have an agenda, and it's a bit of a racket, so AdBlock Plus, and it's all out there in the public. If you're a publisher, you can actually apply to them to say, I'll pay you 30% of my revenue if you whitelist me. And a lot of major companies, and they're out there for you to read about, do that. And so, this is racketeering at the first degree, and the public don't really understand that that's what's going on. Interestingly, some members of the public say, well, I applied AdBlock Plus, but I'm still getting adverts, so what's going on? So it doesn't seem to work, so I'll switch it off. But they don't understand that actually these ads are coming through because of the 30% request rule. There are other ad blocking technologies like Shine, which is out of Israel, which uses deep packet inspection, which is basically your entire web experience on mobile has to be tracked for the ad blocking to work. And that's actually against privacy rules. It's also against net neutrality rules, so that'll be being looked at seriously by regulators. Notwithstanding that, it behoves us to make sure that the ad experience is better, because that's the end game, isn't it? That in fact, when that works better, there'll be less of a reason to block ads, and we'll all be happy, and the consumers at the end of the day will get content funded by advertising, because 90% of them don't want to pay. In fact, our research says only 4% are willing to pay something for content that they didn't pay for before. There already was, native and content marketing, and of course, much of the native advertising on the likes of Facebook, Twitter, are untouched by ad blockers. So because they're blocking an ad server, as you say, content marketing, or the stuff that's in stream or it's within the content area being served via the CMS, is not going to be touched by the ad blocker. And we're seeing rapid growth of that style of advertising. It's about 25% of all display advertising, which is big in itself in the UK. So I agree with you, actually, that will grow. And the other benign factor is that it forces the advertiser to have a purpose and a reason to put, say, an article that's sponsored by them on something like the Huffington Post, and it will get better dwell time from the consumer, there's more reward, whereas an ad, may only have 1 or 2 seconds dwell time on it. So it's actually more valuable and will provide a higher yield for the publisher.